Hello, sewing friends. Welcome to the TurboPurr channel, where we love happy cats and smooth running sewing machines and sergers. Today, I'm going to be doing a demonstration of the embellished cover stitch by hand and by machine. So let's get started. There are many options. The option that I have mainly used is using a serger with a cover hem capability with 2 needles, so a wide cover stitch option. But there are other options, as in using a sewing machine with a twin needle and then following up with a hand needle with that. And the other option, which I'll be showing a little bit later, is the new Baby Lock Applaud machine. And for all of these options, you will need decorative threads, fabrics, and an ironing board and iron to press your work after it's been completed to give it a professional look. There are so many different options for decorative threads. Sulky has many 12-weight variegated and solid colors of threads, and these are very popular options, but there's lots and lots of other options too. In this demonstration, I'm showing an example of a cover hem wide stitched on the serger, but also I wanted to show you that the same effect can be achieved with a twin needle. If you use a twin needle, be sure to consult your owner's manual on your sewing machine for proper setup, and always test stitch on a test fabric in case you need to adjust your tensions. Notice that the lines of straight stitching are matching. They are aligned perfectly. This is important, and we'll go into that a little bit more in a minute. With this, I have turned the serger stitching sideways, and I've threaded up a hand needle with a heavy decorative thread. In this example, I'm showing Madeira Decora thread, which is a 6-weight thread, so it's quite heavy and thick. It is preferable when you are weaving with a hand needle to use a blunt-ended needle if possible, just to prevent going into the lines of thread or the fabric. It just makes things a little bit easier. I have used a hand needle for leather before that has a blunt tip on it for weaving, but you can use the correct size for whatever thread you're using. You just have to be careful and not poke into the fabric. You are just weaving only through those double lines of stitching, going up and going down, weaving back and forth with the hand needle. In this photo, we are almost done with the line of stitching. The hand technique takes a little bit of patience, but it gives a nice decorative result if you are doing short or limited areas. I don't think I would want to do a whole lot of this, but it's a nice decorative accent for smaller areas. Now, another option is to go in with a second thread. And again, I'm using Madeira Decora number 6-weight thread. And this time I'm using it in a contrasting color, pink, so that you can see. The way that I generally do this is after I finish the first line of the first line of weaving, then I go back going in the opposite direction. So I went left to right at first, and now I'm going right to left. But it is really just your preference on how you want to do this. And showing again the weaving, notice that with the second pass of the thread that you're forming these pretty little ovals. It gives quite a nice effect. And here are the two decorative threads completed with a hand needle, weaving through the two lines of straight stitching. I'd also like to show you some examples of the embellished cover stitch by machine. So this was a example from a recent class that I took using the Baby Lock Applaud machine, which is which has a wiper system to guide the embellishment threads back and forth. So with a machine, you can do this a whole lot faster, and you do have some interesting options and variations that you can use for stitch length, which is really interesting. Notice that the Applaud machine has a bypass. You can see the orange and blue variegated color yarn going through the bypass area to accommodate the heavier yarn. This machine is set up with a triple cover hem set up, so triple needles, and one wiper in use in this machine. I'm going to show you a close-up in a minute of this in action. Please bear in mind that I was holding the microphone and the camera very close to the machine so you could have a really good view. So if you were actually sitting at the machine, it would not be as loud as this because you'd be sitting a little bit further away. And plus, there was also a lot of noise in the room at the time. So here we go. And this is a photo of the resulting stitching that was done by machine. When I was using the machine, I decided to try varying the stitch lengths and noticed that some of the stitch lengths are shortened quite a bit, which gives a lot more decorative thread or yarn coverage. And I thought that was a really nice effect, and I really enjoyed playing with the machine and having it do these different effects. Um, a big advantage to doing this by machine is that it's obviously a lot quicker and you can do these short stitch lengths. I would not want to be doing such short stitch lengths by hand because it would be very time consuming. But by machine, it's just a matter of adjusting the machine with the different lengths. And also another thing that I noticed was that with a triple cover hem setup, that's not something that I really like to do if I'm doing it by hand because it takes a little bit more time to do the weaving. So overall, it's really very nice. I enjoyed using the machine quite a bit. It was a very interesting learning experience, and it honestly has me tempted to get one. And here's another example. This is using the two wipers in action. So there's actually two yarns in use in this example. And here is another photo of some of the examples of the test stitching that was done. And another option can be used with the chain stitch on the machine, or um, even with a sewing machine, you could do a lengthened chain stitch. Generally, when I do my base stitching on the serger, I set the stitch length to 4, so a pretty long stitch in order to do the weaving. This example was done on the Baby Lock Applaud, and so these are two different decorative threads that are in the wipers. So there's two wipers in use, but a single line of chain stitching. So if you wanted to do this by hand, it would be done in a similar manner as was shown for the earlier uh, 2 rows of stitching. It's just a matter of weaving the decorative thread with a separate needle up and down through the chain stitching or the straight stitching. But as mentioned, this example was done on the Baby Lock Applaud, and just for fun, I ran um, a wider stitch down the center with the 2 needles. I hope that you have enjoyed this demonstration and that it's given you some ideas for embellishment that you can do with your own machine or by hand. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please feel free to leave a comment about your thoughts and your projects and what you're working on right now in your sewing room. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.